Hello, and welcome to End of Search. This is Scott Sanders, and I'm a USA State Farm contractor. I do water damage restoration, but that's not what I'm about today. Today is the Samsung fridge. Yes, the mother truck and ice maker, that son of an ice maker. Also, if you have the tray in the bottom of the thing, if you have a fridge like this, and you open it up and this very bottom part down here has water in it, there's two different reasons for that. Well, possibly three, but we're going to show you two today. Now, step number one, I've seen a lot of videos, and then in the search, I'm trying to make this to where people don't have to go look at 30, 40 videos. They have the one guy that found 50 different videos, watched them all, picked the pieces, the part that he really liked, and figured the only facts that you need to know. So, that is what End of Search is all about. Welcome. Hi, how are ya? Yeah, that was a Jeffree Star pun. All right, so when you start, if you're going to do the ice maker, let's start with that. Step number one, the easiest part, if you find water just building up on the left side over here, it's not here, it's not here, you don't see it dribbling there, it is running down the side and the back side. Now you don't need to remove this plate, it is just a bracket for the shelves, but you can see all the gray, I siliconed all the outside, so air can't get in and out, but what happens is the ice maker has a little bit of drips in it, and when it drips, it goes, well, first of all, to open it, there's a little tab here that most people can flip for the older versions. But if you have the newer version or my version, you grab here, you lift up, and it comes straight out. Now, normally, what happens, and in the ice maker, some water dribbles down and it gets up in here. Now, it goes in between there, and to get this off, there's one little screw right there. I've already removed it. You pull forward, it pops right off. You can see that there's the connection and the wire that goes up to the top. You need to disconnect that, but not first. You can see the silicone I put on the bottom and in the back. Now behind this wire and in the very back, I couldn't even get it on my finger and fill that hole in. But the idea is, since I siliconed underneath, water will build back up into here. It'll seal off this completely, so the warm air won't get to the cold air. It won't keep water dribbling down, because it'll just run down here and the back side, and it'll pool all the way up here. So the idea is to silicone it both. If it freezes in those little holes, it'll create its own dam, and then that'll stay in this area, and then everything should freeze and not come any faster. The best way to defrost it, yes, your wife's hair dryer. So much simpler than waiting 20-30 minutes in a forced defrost. Now, I know, this is my son Malik. Yes, you will take over the business one day. So you shut the doors, and in the front, you have energy saver and you have fridge. If you hold both of those buttons until the blue lights disappear, you will go into a forced defrost mode, which will take the coils. Then you go to the fridge button, you hit it, FF, OF, RD, FD is what you want. It's called forced defrost. In a forced defrost, it makes the coils inside all three. I have an ice box down here, that one in this box, and in the back side starts making them warm up. When they warm up, it'll make it defrost way faster. You add a blow dryer to it. It took me about 15-20 minutes. I was able to defrost the back side and this. But basically, take all your food out, put it in an ice chest, use all the ice you have so that nothing melts. When you do force defrost, the coil in here, there's one facing this way that's like this, another facing this way that goes into the motor. The motor will come off with the ice box. Now the back side is mounted permanently to the fridge itself. If you break that or crack it or put a hole in it, you'll have to replace the whole fridge. So if you're not comfortable doing this, don't do that part. Have somebody else do this ice breaker part. But how you know you have a problem is you see all these ice buildup of icicles just hanging off, big bulges, chunks of ice. I've watched a lot of videos, and there's morons out there telling you, hey, just take a knife and I just jam it and bust it, and once it gets off, it makes ice again. They're idiots. Do not do that. After disassembling this bottom part, if you take this screw off, this will come down, but only after 15-20 minutes of hitting it with the blow dryer and using the forced defrost. Again, you hear it beeping, and it's in FD mode. So while it's in forced defrost, you wait until this has some wiggle room. When you pull it down, it should barely start to open up, and you'll see the one that's permanently attached to the fridge in the back. That's going to slide out the back of this. This thing opens up like a gator mouth, like that. and it'll slide out the back of it after you fully defrost. You take this screw off, this little tab, again, you'll just pull down. There's two little pegs up in the top that stick down like this, and this has two circles in it up in here. You pull it down and forward, and it'll pop off those little pegs, and it easily detaches. But again, you got to take this off. It's the only power cord source that you need to take off. After getting it out, you can fill the ice bin with water, make sure there's no leaks in there. But what I did, I found there's two screws in here on the left side. There's one on the back. You can separate the motor housing from the rest of it. You need a silicone everywhere a wire goes in, and where the coil that comes out of this that's permanently attached to the motor goes in. I silicone that. On the back side, you'll see little foam pieces. It's not doing it. It's not sufficient enough. After cleaning that and silicone them, I'm going to put them back in, put my ice maker back in. I ended up with having ice good for 2 days, but then I started seeing the water build up at the bottom of the inside of the fridge again, and that's what led me to believe that there had to be another leak. So when you open up your ice bin, and there's a ton of ice in here that's just glacier size, just a whole bunch of chunky ice, that's the problem. It's leaking into the bin, and it's creating it to be a worst case scenario for you. But if you see water building up down here, the easiest step is to silicone that and just seal it off to where everything stays frozen in there. After doing the defrost mode, to shut it off, you do the exact same thing you did when you started. You press the energy saver button and the fridge button. Sorry, this is my first time. Bear with me. I wish my wife was here to hold the camera for me. Now it turned off, so now you hit the fridge button again until you see nothing. When you see nothing, that sets it back to normal. So energy saver and fridge again. No. Off. No. Press and hold it, and everything will come back on, and it shouldn't be beeping. There. Quick little blink. Always keep the alarm on when the door is open, and then your normal cubed ice, crushed water. All right. Now, the next thing past those. So step number one, the hardest one is the ice box maker, but that's the last thing you want to check. The second thing is to do silicone. That'll stop the leak from building up water down here. The other thing I learned from watching videos of actual maintenance repairmans for fridges, they would flip this up. They would take these brackets and all your shelves up. You pull up the front, they come straight out. Now the difficult one is this bottom shelf. You can see that I've already separated, but this part doesn't have the gap right there. That way it pops right off. It's just these two little tabs that hold it in place. So if it's still touching this, you just put it in there, pry it, put it on this part, pry it out. It might take two hands or an extra pair of hands if you got a kid or somebody else around. Have them help you. That makes this come straight out. But you don't really want to defrost. Do a forced defrost from the front of the fridge. You want to come to the back and unplug it. Take everything out, put it in the fridge. Now it came with 4 different screws. There's 2 small ones, there's 2 longer ones. The sides are the 2 small ones. This middle bracket holds the shelf, so obviously it needs more strength. You have the big one, the bigger screws going there. Now at the top, there's a hidden screw. So you pop that off with the flathead screwdriver. Take that screw out, take this screw out, and this will come straight off. Now, this is where you can break the coils again. So you leave it in defrost mode. You want to pull from down here and barely slowly work your way up as you're pulling towards yourself. Same on the bottom. Again, do this at your own risk because there's foam behind here. You can see it. If it's still frozen to the coils and you try to pull them, you can crack them or something like that. So you really want to take your time and unplug it, take everything out, hit the blow dryer. I just set it up here on the shelf. This is exactly what I did. I would cut it on, put it on the shelf. If it slides on you, just put a weight behind it and just had it blow on it for about 15 to 20 minutes. After that, it was thawed enough to where I could start barely wiggling the sides and it pops off. Now there are 2 clips and wires that actually connect up here. They pop straight off. The top one you want to grab from top and bottom and pull it off. The next one below it, you pull left and right side. They're just little squeeze tabs that release it when you squeeze them and pull it. So after getting it all off, there goes the drill. There's one tab. So again, top and bottom. That one comes off, and then left and right side, and that comes off, and then you can remove the whole panel. Now with the panel removed, these are your coils on the inside. Now this is exactly what they look like inside the ice box. They're not double circle, but it looks just like this. This part's permanently mounted to the fridge. It goes down and loops around, and that's what's in this back side that I said when it's an alligator, it's gonna slide through the back hole. Looks just like that. That part's connected to the fridge. It goes around in there. And again, back to the fridge part, you don't wanna scrape this off because this is a thin piece of plastic. Underneath it is a metal pan, just like behind here and the rest of the coils. If you scrape this plastic off, it'll expose that metal plate, and that metal plate will just constantly condensate and create freezing and icicles, and you'll always have a problem. So never start scraping this off. I did the first time, got little scratches in it, but after seeing that plate on the inside, it's a terrible idea to hack away at it. Rather use a blow dryer, clear it out. Now, the clip you're going to see if you have this removed, it's going to be just about as wide as my finger is. It goes down in this little drain. The drain goes in the bottom of the fridge. Now, if it's possible that the drain in the bottom of the fridge is full and you have to replace that. It's a little hose. But here, this hole goes down. Sometimes this freezes up. If this freezes up, you buy this little clip that I got from Amazon. They're like $5 or something, and it's a bigger part. The idea is this wire heats up. When this heats up, the more, oh, it's hot right now because I'm in forced defrost. When this heats up, the more surface area that touches, the more of this is going to heat up, and then it runs down here and breaks up all the ice so that thing can drain. You can still see there's quite a bit of water in here. But yeah, you take the other one off, use 10 snips, use anything else, but don't want to really damage this wire too much, or the heater coil. You actually want to snip it at the bottom and then take some flathead pliers, twist it up, and just bend it off. This thing starts off looking like this. You put it over the wire, you take these little tabs on the end, bend them up. You can see it on the left and right side. I bent them up, it'll hold it into place. Yeah, it's already warm, so it's working. So if you have water built up in the bottom of your fridge, step one, just go ahead and silicone the whole sides of it. That'll keep water from dripping down. Other times the water is going to be in your fridge. It's because that freezes up and it overflows and it goes through there in that little vent in the back. So those are your first two steps. But if you're going to empty out the whole fridge and your ice maker hasn't worked in a while, it's worth trying to fix that part. But again, you damage any of these, do it at your own risk. I'm not going to be held responsible. But if you're a patient person and you're a Mr. Fix-It like I am, there's not much in a house that I can't do. Did it for 10 years, 1,000 houses. So these are the 50 videos I watched and wanted to break it down to just one video. So yes, you're welcome. I'll be having a lot more videos out there. Go Astros and love your team too. Thanks for watching Into Search. Have a great day.
Natalie Sanders.